It was cold, and it's been a while since we played in something like that. And I think it was indicative by some of the numbers. So we had 4 base on balls, 2 hit batters. If you look at Minnesota, we had 8 walks, which is not indicative of their pitching staff either. So it was tough on pitchers and their grips on the ball and so forth. But we had a long week of practice, and I felt really good about what I saw today. And it wasn't very easy to see maybe from somebody else's eye, but with it being cold and just things aren't working exactly the way you want, I was really proud of them. Some timely hitting, some good at bats, good defense. Jordy struggled a bit, and that was good for her to feel that. I think she had a little bit of nerves, but again, it's pitchers dealing with the cold, and you saw that tonight.
Start with Eric Bailey.
Patty, congratulations. Jocelyn, 12 pitches, only 1 swing, but you guys are taking advantage of her opportunities on base, and you're making things happen after her. How big is that if teams are going to pitch around her just to take advantage of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating because a hitter wants to hit. So she's had a good attitude with it. She's doing what she needs to do for the team, but there's frustration because she's been waiting to swing for a while. And I'm just proud of her taking a team approach. And Jana, Kinsey Hansen, those 2 behind her have done a really good job of maintaining run support and so forth.
Thank you, Patty. Hey, have a good trip to Hawaii.
Thank you.
Go to Ryan Aber.
Yeah, Patty, sticking with Jocelyn on that 3rd at bat, a couple of those pitches on the intentional walk looked pretty close to the outside corner. What was your perspective on that? And just the way that Jocelyn overall is handling things right now, and how do you keep her ready to hit when she's just not getting hardly any pitches to even have a chance at?
She took one big hack today that made everybody go, whoa. I don't really say anything. Just keep it real light with her. She's not going to let you make her chase to help get her out. She's not going to do that. She's not that desperate, and she won't show you that she's desperate to chase something, to try, because that when you see her do that, then she is not the hitter she is. So I am very proud of her approach and what she's doing, not chasing, not pressing. If someone's going to pitch to her, she's going to be ready to hit. She showed that with that 1 swing, but she could have maybe chased a few after that. They were, like you said, were close enough, but she's too pure of a hitter. She's not going to do that. So I trust her. I love what she's doing right now.
I appreciate it, Patty. Have a good trip.
Thank you.
Go to John Hoover.
Hi, Patty. I'm glad you mentioned the run support earlier, because that was what I was going to ask you about. I noticed in Palm Springs that it looked like girls were delivering in the slot ahead of her, in the slot behind her. How does everybody stay so focused? This could be such a distraction, and yet the people around her, the players and the teammates around her, seem to be extra focused.
They just keep it real light. I think Jossie says it very clearly. This is not about me. And she doesn't make it about her. We don't talk about the record. We don't say, okay, this could be your day. I mean, I'm hoping people aren't. I think sometimes our players are answering questions about it. But when you feel the locker room, you don't feel that buzz of like, this could be the day. We just go out and try to win. And we want this to be very natural for Jossie, not pressed. So everyone's just kind of, it just feels like a regular locker room to me.
What does it feel like knowing that she can go to Hawaii now and set this record? That would be amazing.
Yes, you all know what the big question is, and that is she going to get a chance to even have that opportunity? And that's where the frustration comes in, and she gets it. And she's, just, if it's going to help us win games, right? But I think it's gotten out there, like, who's going to be the team that gives it up? Well, it's not going to be us. It's not going to be us. So I don't know. We're just waiting patiently for when she gets that pitch. That's all we can do.
Thank you, Patty. Appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you.
We'll go to Joey Homer.
Yeah, Patty, you talked about the walks on both sides, but I want to ask about your pitchers because there were a couple of times in the game where you got out of jams, like bases loaded, and your pitchers had to bow up. I mean, this game helped your pitching from that standpoint, didn't it?
Yeah, it does. It was a big lesson learned for both of them. Jordy just was not her normal dominant, get ahead of the count self. And she was very honest with us, as with Coach Rocha and myself, about what she was feeling. And that's when we made that change. Nicole May came out, normally doesn't give up walks, gave up 2. So it was not indicative of what a normal pitching staff of ours looks like. It's a lesson. That's the last thing we talked about in the locker room, is this is a lesson to be learned. You don't go home and you cry over it or get upset. You learn, what did that feel like? Where did I go wrong? How do I fix it? And I think as a coaching staff, we have strategies to help them to stay a little bit better prepared, warm. Whatever we got to do better, we'll do for them as well.
We'll go to Joe Bettner.
Yeah, Patty, just as you enter Hawaii, you mentioned the Utah game being the worst game you guys had, and then going in here, you bounce back. I'm just curious, with the psyche of the team, just kind of the overall thing with Jocelyn. I mean, how are you feeling as far as the progress of where this team is at, just as you kind of navigate such a weird circumstance as far as a home run record chase?
Yeah. Like I said, nobody talks about it in the locker room or talks about it much unless you all are asking about it. We had a really good week of practice where I was pushing harder than I have in a while, and just forcing them to pay more attention to the little things, whether it's the good jump off the bag on every pitch, not just on a pitch that you think you're going on. And I don't know, it's just attention to detail, getting ahead of the game. There were a lot of challenges this week where, like, who can win this? Who can win this challenge? And we were seeing people step up. I liked how we played today. And as cold as it was, you couldn't really feel, I felt the most normal about this team today than I have in the 15 games prior. And I attribute that a lot to us being at home and getting a chance to get ourselves back where we wanted to be.
Patty?
We'll go to James Hale.
Hey, Patty, let's talk some softball, because you have built this lineup 1 through 9, and you're never satisfied until you get it 1 to 9. And I don't think teams can beat you if they're going to put one player on all the time, because everybody, at least they're not going to be able to shut you down offensively. Haven't you built this lineup to the point that if teams are going to take this strategy, you feel pretty confident you can do some damage and put some runs on the board?
Always. Yeah, always. This is a very potent offense. And the beauty of the offense is if we know a certain pitcher, I make 2 lineups. And if one pitcher is pitching, this is our lineup. If the other one is pitching, this is our lineup. The pitcher bodes very well for lefties, and you could see our lefty success off of them. When the other pitcher came in, you saw changes where Lou came in and had Elam hitting for it. It wasn't set up very well for lefties. So then you see Elam come in and almost get one out. Should have on any other day, probably gone out. So there's lots of strategy behind what we're doing. And we have a player to match up with about any pitcher, and we can go in and out and keep them all happy, which is hard to do, but giving them at bats is keeping them engaged. So I think we could hit with anybody.
And you're deep. I mean, you came off the bench with 3 players that can play for just about anybody in the country. I mean, you've got depth. I mean, you can do some things anytime you want in the game.
Yeah, and it's important that we do that because we got to keep these players hungry and keep feeding them opportunities and letting them try to keep breaking their way into the lineup. So it's a fine line. Like, it's not easy, but it's important that we do that and give everybody opportunity to shine.
Thanks, Patty. Travel safe.
Thank you.
The last one, Jason Batacchio.
Hey, Patty, how you doing?
Good.
I know you mentioned during the midweek presser that you had always promised Jocelyn, kind of a trip to Hawaii. What went into planning this trip to Hawaii, and what was kind of the step-by-step process for it?
It wasn't easy, honestly. We had planned it, tried to do it in 2020 or try to get going in 2021, where it would be her natural senior year. And that didn't work. So it was just Joe Castiglione giving us the blessing. And I knew he would because of Jocelyn and what she's done for this program and what it means for her and for her state and so forth. So it just took a commitment from Joe. A lot of planning. It's not easy to travel into Hawaii. We've already talked about all of the COVID testing protocols and all the forms you have to fill out. It's a different animal going there, but it's worth it. I'm really excited. We're going to do some things at Jossie's, like do a promotional event at her old high school. We're going to get cultured a little bit, but first and foremost, we're there to play softball. We got a good schedule with Cal Berkeley showing very well and Baylor. So I'm excited. And Hawaii. So I'm excited for her and her family. I think the Hawaiian community is going to come out and see this. It's just a matter of someone's going to throw her that perfect pitch, but we'll be there for it.
One quick follow-up. Now that she has a chance to kind of do it in her home state, what does it mean for you, but also her to potentially be able to, break the record there?
I think it means the world to her. And that is even more reason why. What is the other team's feeling about it? So it's so out of our hands. It could be a special moment, or she may not get that opportunity. I don't know. It's just up to other teams and how they look at it. So could it have been played out any better? No. But will that opportunity come? We're hoping so.
For more information, you can visit tulsaworld.com.